Alright, here we are once again, and we're now going to be talking about agility. So, let's get to that. Agility, also known as green, this first little arrow here. Green is an interesting color. So, by itself, it's not going to look very powerful, but there are definitely well, let's just not take it at face value, shall we? So here we have our representative cards: Curse, Thieves Guild Recruit, Goblin Skulk, and Shadow Shift. Talk about Curse first. These are cards that involve wounding. These cards are, our normal one is Curse. Give a creature -1/-1. Very basic card. This, however, works very well with Leaf Lurker, which has the text Summon, destroy a wounded creature. Wounded is a word that in Elder Scrolls Legends means it has either been damaged by an attack or it has one of these curse effects on it. An effect that reduces the health of the creature. So, we also have Drain Vitality. Drain Vitality is a shout, and this is the first shout that we've focused on here. There are shouts for every color though, so keep that in mind. Its text is, give an enemy creature -1/-1. This is just the first level though. When you play a shout, the next time you play it, it goes up to level 2. And for Drain Vitality, that would then turn it into -2/-2. And then once you play it a second time, it goes up to level 3. And they max out at level 3. The level 3 Drain Vitality shout is, give all enemy creatures -1/-1. A very, very powerful card. And there are ways to make this card even more consistent. You can upgrade shouts with word walls, so that you can make it so that all 3 Drain Vitalities you play are potentially level 3 shouts. Very strong anti-aggro tool. Now we've got Shearpoint Dragon, which has the text Summon, give a creature -2/-2. It also has the text, when you reduce a creature's power or health with another effect, reduce it by an extra 1. So this doesn't trigger off of itself, but it would trigger if you had another Shearpoint Dragon on board. It will also affect all of these Cursed Drain Vitalities, as well as some other effects in Endurance. There as well, it's not just Leaf Lurker that has this type of effect. There are also other cards such as Finish Off, which is itself an action. Alright, so let's move on. Now we've got cards that draw cards. It seems kind of funny, right? But anyways, Thieves Guild Recruit, very strong. Well, strong isn't quite the word for it. Useful though. It's just a 1/2 for 2, but it draws you a card, and if that card costs 7 or more, you reduce its cost by 1. That can be a very, very useful effect. Eclipse Baroness, Summon, and Last Gasp, draw a card and reduce its cost by 2. This is a card that used to see a little bit more play than it does currently, but there's definitely still space for it in a number of decks. Now Slime Marshblade over here. Last Gasp, draw a card if you have 7 or more Max Magicka. So otherwise it's just a 3/2 for 2, but when you've got 7 or more Max Magicka, it draws you a card when it dies. It's useful. And of course we have Lockpick. Lockpick is an action that says it either put another lockpick into your hand or draw a card and reduce its cost by 2. chosen randomly. Now it says chosen randomly, but I think in practical purposes, I think it's like 2/3 chance to draw another lockpick. This card can see some funny play in things like Action Assassin. It's not a consistent way to just draw cards though, so like don't get too excited about that. Anyways, right, so agility has a large number of cards that draw you other cards. Now as well, there are cards with 0 cost interaction. Our lovely face of this is Goblin Skulk, who has the effect Pilfer, draw a random card from your deck that costs 0. Most of the time when you see this played, it's not going to be random because you know that you're going to be drawing, say, a Nord Firebrand, or maybe a Murkwater Goblin, things like that. So we have some interactions with this though. Swims at Night is a unique legendary that has the text summon, put a random 0 cost card into your hand, and after you play a 0 cost card, Swims at Night gains +1/+1. So he gains buffs from these 0 cost cards. Smuggler's Hall, draw 4 random 0 cost cards. Now you're playing 6 to draw 4 random 0 cost cards. That might not seem like a great value, but you can play them all immediately, generally, because they're 0 cost. And there's also this interaction with Swindler's Market. This is how this is one of the ways, just one of the ways. There are a number of ways that you can get utility from 0 cost cards. Swindler's Market is one of them. When you play a 0 cost card, deal 1 damage to your opponent and gain 1 health. This is a sport, so you can have 3 of them out at a time. Or up to 4, I guess, if you do something funny with something. But right, so this is a way that you can craft a deck that's based all around the 0 cost interaction. Usually you'll do it in Archer, that's green and red, though sometimes you'll see it in Assassin. And finally, we have cards for moving and extra attacks. These are actually cards that, in my mind, really speak to the name of the class, Agility. They're cards that involve like movement, right? Movement and doing stuff. So, we have Shadow Shift, which is a 1-cost action. Move a friendly creature, draw a card. Dune Smuggler, summon, move another friendly creature in this lane, and when a friendly creature moves, give it +1/+1. So you can build an entire deck based around this whole theme of movement. As well, there are these cards that give extra attacks or have extra attacks. Swift Strike, give a creature an extra attack this turn. Snowy Sabercat may attack an extra time each turn. I have to say that none of these see a lot of play. Shadow Shift actually probably sees the most play because it draws you a card, right? But it is one of the defining aspects of green, of agility, right? It's an agile type of color. Whether that is drawing you cards or playing low-cost creatures, that is what agility is. So that's what you can expect out of agility generally. There's one other thing to mention though, and that is the Goblin tribal deck. It is one of the strongest tribal decks, and that is nearly entirely green. Alright, so that is it for agility here, and we'll be back for the next one.